As usual, I was sitting on one of the popular social media sites in the evening, sipping the alcoholic energy drink I bought today. This is the kind of stuff that, when consumed properly, in the right proportions and at the right time, has incredible effects. For example, if you drink a couple cans of 8.5% alcoholic energy drink while watching a horror movie, you'll have an incredibly realistic horror dream with a 95% probability. Of course, not right away. After all, it takes at least a couple hours to fall asleep after drinking an energy drink. So, back to that night. I was chatting with my acquaintance in a social network, talking about all sorts of paranormal phenomena, mysticism and the like. We started talking about unusual and scary incidents that had happened to us. Alcohol hit my head, adrenaline was playing in my blood, I wanted to tickle my nerves. We told each other about all sorts of nonsense. Frankly, it all sounded so stupid that neither he nor I believed each other. Having finished the second can, I asked my acquaintance why he took so long to answer me. I don't remember the exact answer. I will tell you approximately how our dialogue continued in the future. He wrote, "You may not believe me. I don't believe what I saw myself. It's too much like a cheap horror movie. I went into the kitchen to make a couple of sandwiches and some tea, and I heard screaming outside. I looked out the window. I live on the 6th floor, and the kitchen window overlooks the courtyard. There was some kid chasing adults and kids and they were running away. At first I thought it was a game and turned away to put the kettle on. Then there was such a loud scream of terror that I flinched, quickly looked out of the window and almost fainted. There was a woman lying in the snow, apparently no longer alive. Without one leg. This severed leg was dragged along by the very boy from whom everyone was running away. He leisurely walked to a table in our yard, sat on it and started eating the leg. I was afraid to call the police. Figured the neighbors had already done it. I started to get scared. While I was looking out the window, the kettle was boiling on the stove, and, honestly, this kid was looking at me. I quickly turned off the light and locked the door. I write, once again not believing his words. Well, take a picture of him or something. Also tell me that instead of eyes he has huge black hollows, and instead of normal teeth he has fangs. About 10 minutes later. I write, oh. This weirdo came to your house for tea? Probably smelled the sausage on the sandwiches and decided to eat the trophy leg afterwards. Probably got bored of raw meat. A few more minutes passed. The acquaintance not only didn't reply, but also didn't read the messages. And I was already doing my own thing. I turned on some music, started a game on my computer. And then there was a video call. I didn't immediately realize what it was. I don't like video calls, so I never use them. And I never get calls, only texts, so I didn't see the point in turning them off completely. Coming out of the game, I was surprised. An acquaintance had called. For the first time. Either because of the energy drink or just scared, I rejected the call. Literally a couple seconds later, the message came back. Answer it, bitch. I was shocked, as with this acquaintance we were not close friends and never called names even in jest. Deciding that it was better to ignore the situation, I turned off the computer and went to dinner. That night I slept not just badly, but very badly. I've already told you that after such energy drinks the night almost always passes in nightmares. I had a dream from which I woke up in a cold sweat. I dreamed that I woke up in the morning, went to the kitchen, and there on the stove is a pan with fried potatoes and cutlets. On the table was money and a note written in my mother's handwriting.
Uncle is sick. We went to the village for a couple of days. You didn't get woken up. Don't skip work. Kisses.
There was nothing surprising about them leaving a note. Cell phone service in the village is very poor. Suddenly it was evening. I sat down at my computer again with a can of energy drink and logged onto social media. There was a heartbreaking scream outside the window. I went to the kitchen, as I have a room with a balcony littered with washed clothes. And the windows in my parents' room faced the other side. I looked out the window. Some kid about 12 years old had torn off a man's leg and was walking somewhere deep into the courtyard, carrying it behind him. I was stunned, remembering the story of my acquaintance. I must say that the dream was quite controlled. I even almost realized that it was all a dream, and there was no need to be afraid. Suddenly this guy turned around and looked through my windows. Then I was in the hallway and tried to open the front door. When I opened it, I saw a cute little girl about 6 years old. She smiled and asked in a sweet, sweet voice,
"Can I rip your leg off, asshole?"
Her smile stretched unnaturally to her ears, revealing a row of sharp teeth. The next thing I knew, I was in savage pain. I was lying on the bed, and my legs were being ripped off. I couldn't see who was tearing them off because my eyes were covered with something sticky. I woke up in a disgusting state, either from the dream or from the pain in my leg. With a heavy head, I headed for the kitchen. The apartment was unusually quiet. There was a pan of food on the stove, money and a note on the table. I almost fainted. The note said the same thing I'd seen in the dream. There were fried potatoes and cutlets in the skillet. I quickly got dressed and went to work to tell my friends about all the weirdness. At work, of course, they laughed. No one believed me. However, they refused to come to my place, saying they were busy. On my way home, as usual, I bought 2 cans of energy drinks and sat down at the computer. I went to the internet, and there were dozens of messages from the same acquaintance waiting for me. The messages were as follows. "Answer me, bitch. We're coming to you, asshole. We know you know," etc. I freaked out, erased all the messages and sat down to write this story down. When I went out to the kitchen for a smoke, I heard a heartbreaking scream. With a heavy heart, I looked out the window and was hardly surprised at what I saw. There was a man on the ground with his leg torn off, and a child standing next to him, looking right at me. For 2 minutes now, there have been persistent bells and knocks on the door. I don't know how this will end, but just in case, goodbye.